guys, it's Drew here, and I'm here to make a video today about the shadow, and it is in part a response to Ivana and her video about shadow and my own experience, and I may cry with this video because I have been terrified lately, not of any person, just of me and my capabilities as a human being and as a celestial being and as a person who is constantly questioning the norm, questioning society, questioning the earth, questioning reality. I've always been a shadow worker, um, always. I love light. I love and I feel light. I feel that in my body, and I always say love and light, and I always say love and compassion, and I always bring that positivity to my space because I think it has an integral part in the balancing act of being a shadow worker. But I don't think I'm a light worker, and it's taken me a really long time to get to that point where I can say that I work with these energies more powerfully, and I do, and I always have, because I've always been drawn to death goddesses, for example, because I feel like that mostly represents my life as a warrior goddess, as a carer for the land, as a healer, as a seer, as a storyteller, as a person who constantly takes the seed, plants it, watches it grow, harvests it, feeds it, and then rips it from the ground so that I can make life anew. And this is really, really painful right now because I am scared of my own shadows. And I know that every now and again I get to this point where there is something that it feels impenetrable. It feels like there's a wall. It feels like I can't get past it. And I can, and I know I can, and I have many, many times throughout my whole entire life. Even throughout this year has been hella crazy with this kind of thing. Sorry, I have music on the background. Spotify. And so I feel love. I feel love and light and honoring in my heart. But I also feel supported and surrounded right now. Heavily, heavily surrounded by energy. And it's new to me. And not new as in like I've never experienced having that feeling of having a spirit guide, but constantly I've been felt touched. Constantly I've felt the holding of the arm or the head, like here, and the comfort of it. And it scared me because I have had experiences in the past where I've been scared by it. And you know, when you're calling upon your spirit guides and your ancestors and, you know, your goddess Morrigan, as I do, it's, for me, it's usually been in a place where it's been all internal and I know it's there, but I've never felt it physically beyond sort of my chakra system, sort of in the body. And it does scare me. It does. And I know that Larissa was talking um, to me about a few things, you know, and I've like fears and things like that. And I've spoken to a lot of people in my circle and in the community that are going through very similar things where they're facing elements of society build up, or elements of your own psyche, especially when you're starting to go beyond the realms of reality. It's consensus reality. It is so terrifying sometimes. And the thing is that it's a push through though. Like, once you go there, once you begin to do the work and to really heal yourself and become whole again, and to deal with those fractures, and to confront all the different pieces of you that just, as a child or as an adult, just got blown up and scattered everywhere. And it's like, I feel like sometimes, I'm on the ground on my hands and knees just picking up these tiny pieces, and some of them I've been putting back together and creating things out of, like with my channel and my writing and my creativity, and it feels so good. But there's that the counterbalance of like finding chips that just don't fit, like they just don't fit together, and it's so, you know, you're trying so hard to put them back together because you know that in some way they will fit back together in time. And then you realize that time is an illusion and space is, infinite. And um, when you're connecting with these spirit guides and these energies and these ancestors, you're going to feel their presence so strongly. The more you work with that energy, the more you tap into it, the more you do astral work and dreaming and, that kind of work. And then I realized today I was feeling a bit low. Not low as like rock bottom low, but just dormant, really dormant in feeling like, not so much like dormant in creating, but dormant in where I wanted to go next with picking up these pieces and fitting the fragments together, because I have a lot going on in my head. I have a lot to deal with in terms of shadow work. And I'm not scared of shadow work. That doesn't scare me in the least. Um, of course, I'm scared of things that have come up, or grief. I'm going through an incredible grief process right now. An incredible grief process of, a 7-year, 8-year relationship where I live with this person, I was with this person, I was connected with this person, I was dependent on this person, they were dependent on me, we shared everything. And sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes it's really, really hard when I'm scared or I have things going around in my head, and I have to sit within my space and just search and feel, you know, search and look beyond those fears and really face that shadow and say, what is it that I need to see that I am not seeing or not feeling or not knowing or not understanding, or I believe that I can't. And it is like trying to push through a wall sometimes, because I can see this mirror. I can feel that energy. It's like, you've got some dark shit to work through, girl. Like, you have got some dark shit. And I think as well, the triggers that are coming up at the moment, especially around groups and magic and sort of that, sorry, I'm loud a bit, my cat. Those energies, especially this week, I've not encountered people with that much energy in a long time. And I don't like it. I don't. I'm a Cancerian, and my home is everything to me, and my home is my temple, and I am a temple. I don't deal well with conflict. I don't deal well with collective conflict. Um, Things like war and hate and bitterness and fear, like real to your death fear. I can't deal with other people's shit like that. And I take it on so much. And that's part of my shadow. Part of my shadow is that I plug into groups sometimes. I feed into that energy because I care, because I want to heal myself, because I see myself in other people, because I'm a situational empath and I take on other people's situations, even though, like, even when I'm not conscious of it, unless I'm really working hard to be conscious of it, and taking responsibility for that shadow as well. And so lately I've just been feeling so off edge. And it did happen around that time when things were going down in a couple of groups. And it did come up when, you know, I've started making more videos and started being a lot more of a presence online and being vocal about what I'm doing and what I'm not doing. It did come up when I was started to be a bit more vocal about the astral world and who I was meeting there, and energies and entities and things that I believed in and experiences I've had. That shit is gonna come up, you know, and part of me, my inner child, my scared fucking inner child, sometimes is like, let's just go to bed. Let's just go to bed, or, you know, worse in some cases, let's run. Let's drop this shit and run because it's so fucking scary. Let's just run. And, you know, I used to run a lot. I used to run from this stuff. And I'm trying really hard now to be in the presence of, you know, in my aura, there are my shadows. You know, I release the shadows that aren't mine, but there are in my inner world shadows that I, I, I have to deal with myself. It is my responsibility to deal with them. It is my responsibility to face them. It's my responsibility to work to heal my trauma, to recover that trauma, to recover those fragments. And it's going to be a lifelong process. And I'm one of these people too that just pokes fucking. They poke the wasp's nest. I do. I just can't not do it. And it's never to be self-destructive. It's always to destroy something so that it can make way for new life. And I think there's a difference in that, especially when it comes to shadow. I think, you know, you can poke the wasp's nest for a reason, to provoke like a self-destructive path where you go downwards in a spiral, and because you know you consciously just don't have love or worth or anything like that, or you don't feel like that. Or you can go down the destruction path of going, okay, well, these are the things that I need to work with. These are the things I need to address. These are the things I need to admit. These are the things that are in my presence right now, and I need to destroy the fuck out of them. I need to release them. I need to work with them. I need to heal with them. I need to talk to them. I need to understand them. I need to push the boundaries, and then I need to just let them go and feed them back into the earth again and plant new seeds. And we're coming up to the last phase of the moon cycle. And in the last week, it's been like full moon, and I think we're going into waning. Oh my god, I'm quite not great with this. Waning, waxing, waning. I think it's waning. Yeah, it's waning because we're coming to the new moon. And I've never been on a conscious path like this before, where I have mapped out the whole phases of the moon and the whole phases of my body and how it's reacting to energy, how it's reacting to different zodiac signs and astrological elements, and, you know, where the planets are and things like that, and what's going down. And I'm hitting a point now where it's like sundown mode. It's the dormant stage. It's the collecting what you've learned. It's the reflecting. It's the letting go. And I just have so much to purge. And I think that the next week is going to be about burning and releasing, and really consciously feeling that, because I feel like I'm going into that crone, dark underworld, you have to deal with this shit right now kind of thing. And I put a lot of pressure on myself because I feel like I need to know everything about the universe right now. I feel like sometimes I need to know everything and heal everything and understand when my fractures are, like, universally, like out in space and things like that, and other planets and things like that. That's part of my creative process. But sometimes I need to remind myself to have days because I can live so up here. I can live so much in, like, I want to understand. I want to meet guides. I want to go to astral. I want to do this. I want to dream. I don't want to, and gets, it builds energy and energy and energy and energy and energy. And sometimes I'm doing this energy thing when I really need a rest. Like, I just need a day where I just read a fiction book or something, or watch some Netflix or YouTube videos or something like that. And it's teaching me about, when I'm on a high, protecting myself, yeah, but understanding where to draw the line as well, because um, my soul could infinitely continue to learn and research and feed this part of myself, but my physical body, my human body, needs to ground again. And I drew the solar plexus card today. I think I've got an image of it, which is my life force. And I've got a yellow jasper, which I love this. It's a beautiful stone. And I also picked out the fear card because I feel like this is me right now. I feel like I'm looking in the murky waters of shadow. You know, I feel like people are touching me. I feel like people are watching me, and I had this conversation with a couple of people where I'm like, yeah, maybe that's right. But I have space. This is my space. This is my creative home. I am in my temple. I am in my home. I have a choice. I have a voice, and I have a responsibility to practice my magic, to hone my magic, to work with my magic, and to work with my body. And my body is my own. Nobody has, you know, the right, whether you live on the earth or you live out in space, to dictate what you do, or um, how you use, or how you interact with somebody else. It comes down to the person and the energy. And so, when you are working with certain energies, I know with the Fae, like when I started working with the Fae as a child, I loved it. Like, I love the trickery and the magic of it, and the fun, Eden Blyton style. And then when I got older, I just got more scared of the Fae, because the more you read, the more you research, the more you know they're connected with all kinds of different beings. And then, I opened up the doors and I was like, you know what? Let's explore that. Let's explore that shadow of my inner child being shit scared of fucking pixies, for example. And then, I found Morrigan. And part of her, for me, is Morgan Le Fay. And, she's a fairy queen. And the Morrigan is a phantom queen, a ghost queen, and it makes sense to me that these are part of my shadows, and these are part of these are the archetypes and the mirrors that I honor and worship and love and respect and come to time and time again to work with and work outside of. And I forget that sometimes. I forget that I'm divine too, as well as an earth walking person. And so shadows for me can be incredibly beautiful in their in the fear. Because every time I felt like this, every time I felt like, you know, I can't face this shit, I can't look at this shit, I can't, I just, it's so scary. It is so fucking scary. Like, like, this is the stuff that society tells you not to look at. This is the stuff that people don't want you to look at. Fuck it, you can't not look at stuff. You just can't. Like, why are we here? We're here to evolve. But at the same time, we're here to work with our own independent soul spirit shadows as well. And I think there's a time when you straddle both those things, where it's like, you're working with really big universal themes, and you're working with the earth plane and your own spiritual consciousness, and just your childhood and trauma and stuff like that. And I think at the moment those two are merging a little bit, and I need the time to be dormant, um, until the new moon cycle. And because I've been so creative, like I mentioned, I think I'm just freaking out a little bit where I'm like, I'm still creating, but why am I feeling so scared about everything I'm creating? Like, why am I in this place? Like, why has all this stuff come up lately? And it's because it's coming up collectively as well. Like, I've noticed it in a lot of circles as well that, you know, this idea of shadows and watchers and energy beings and things like that trying to help us or hinder us or whatever you perceive it to be, but I see it as neutral now. Because, you know, when you're healing something within yourself, a fracture within yourself, you're healing something on another plane anyway. Same within the astral. You know, if I'm sitting in a circle with my magician and we're healing in the forest, that forest is obviously somewhere else in space, or, you know, in a universe, or in parallel worlds or whatever. So it's what I want to bring to that place as well. And sometimes you have to bring your awareness of shadow to those things, like awareness to shadow to journaling, awareness to shadow to your writing. Like, when you're writing characters, you're tapping into shadow. If you're writing a villain, you're tapping into your own shadow. And so it's kind of like that for me right now, where I'd probably say I'm going through the dark night, like the dark night of the soul kind of thing at the moment with my shadows, where, you know, it's coming up to that cycle where it's a purging cycle, and of course all this stuff's going to come up. And so I think I just wanted to talk to people. I just wanted to put this video out here to talk to people about what's going on. And I'll be making a video later on today with the day 3 for the seeds of creation. I've been working on a few things. I showed this on my Instagram. I've been starting to draw mythical creatures. As you can see, my face is just completely flared up because I'm stressed and been crying, and it's hot, and my acne just plays up when that happens. And so I'm working with ruby fuchsite because this is one of my favorite stones, and I have it in a rock form as well. This is on my desk always, and I love this. And I love that it's like they've changed over time to fit my fingers and feel good within my hand. And yeah, I'm going to work with this today. Yeah, so not so much a response, I guess, but I might put it as a video response and go from there and see how that goes. But I'll probably make some more videos at some point about my shadow process and things like that. But what are your guys' thoughts? Like, I just don't feel like I feel like I can be very overprotective, but I also feel like the counterbalance of that is, you know, being overly paranoid, and that's the paranoid feeling is when I'm blocked the most. It's my ego, and it's also my body, my ethereal body, and my experiences on this earth and off this earth. So there's a lot of stuff coming up. I keep saying that, but I'm gonna go now. Thank you guys for witnessing. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.